Adam Cooney.
Yes, Josh Jenkins.
Did you ever? How long did you spend within a leadership group in your time?
Well, I was involved, introduced, asked to leave, kicked out. I've had
Everything.
it all. I've been in, I've been out. I've had 1 foot in, I've had 1 foot out. I was a vice captain at one stage. Rocket wanted to make me the skipper.
Oh.
After Brad Johnson, I think it was, retired. But that was probably a smart decision in going with Matty Boyd. I think he's a bit more serious than me. And he had a few ripping pre-match speeches as well that he just completely butchered about halfway through and lost his way. And everyone just cracks up laughing. And then that's the end of that, trying to pump everyone up. So I have spent a lot of time in leadership groups. We've had 8 in leadership groups. We've had 4, we've had 5. I think the perfect number is maybe a skipper, 2 vice captains, maybe someone else. Any more than 4, and you just sit there and you rehash things, and everyone's got to sit there and they've got to say something, feel like you've got to have an opinion, and meetings run for about 2 hours longer than they need to in the leadership group. Indeed
they do. We're going to speak to Adam Peacock, our man. I knew he wouldn't leave us in the lurch. He's going to speak to us at about 25 minutes to 6. So in about 10 minutes or so, it's busy down there, so we'll give him a bit of leeway, but we're definitely going to speak to Adam Peacock shortly about what's happening at the Australian Open. But there are a lot of vacancies or TBCs when it comes to AFL club skippers.
There are.
So at the
I've just found out.
At the moment, Adelaide. At the moment, right here, right now, Adelaide is a TBC with Rory Sloane. That has not been confirmed that he'll be the captain this year. He's coming off a ACL, so there's one that's up in the air. Collingwood, we know Scott Pendlebury has handed in the role there. Essendon, there's no certainty that Dawson Heppel will be the skipper this year. I think it's probably expected that he won't be. Geelong, of course, Joel Selwood's retired. GWS, now Caniglio was the captain last year, but there's a new coach in town, so with a new sheriff comes a new deputy sheriff. The Hawks. The Hawks need a skipper as well because big boy Ben McAvoy has moved on. So it's interesting. It's not late, and these clubs will certainly be internally sort of throwing this up in the air, having internal votes. But can we work through each club that has a vacancy? Let's say that the TBCs are. Let's say the TBCs are. Heppel's not going to do it, and Caniglio is going to move on. Can we find a new skipper for these teams?
Okay. Well,
right.
Would you like to go in alphabetical order and start with the Adelaide Crows?
Probably as good as any way to start.
Well, I think the natural progression should be Tom Doedee because he is super courageous. He can marshal the troops back there. Doesn't do a lot wrong. Whether or not you want a defender who's going to be busy with trying to take out a key forward as your skipper, that's probably the only concern with that. But I think Ben Keys would be a really good leader. I've spoken to him numerous occasions on SEN, and he's just got a great level head, speaks really well, and you need that. It's a key feature of being a captain at a club now. It's not just rallying the troops on game day. You have to be able to speak to corporates, sponsors, media. So he'd be a good fit and plays footy the right way too. So I think those two would be the main candidates there. You got a left fielder for me?
No, I think Doedee's the obvious one. I think Rory Sloane would be pretty desperate to hang on to it if I'm having a guess. I think he'll feel like he's got some unfinished business. He'd love to probably hand the reins over with the club in a better position in terms of, maybe a game or two outside of the finals or maybe even sneaking in and making a final. I think Rory Sloane, and I know him quite well, obviously, I think he might be keen to hang on to it. But I think Doedee's the obvious one. Rory Laird's not. He's one of those guys who shuns the leadership roles per se. Keys, not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how whether there'll be some young midfielders that might go past Keys and then, he's a midfielder or bust. So not sure if he would be the way to go. I think Doedee's the obvious one for the Crows.
Yep.
Collingwood, now it's hard to follow in the footsteps of Scott Pendlebury, but someone's going to have to do it. We've got, Chris Maynard. Taylor Adams is a strong leader at that club. Jeremy Hare as well, but he's sort of north of 30. So where would you go there?
I'm sniffing co-captains here. I think Taylor Adams and Braden Maynard are the main two that stick out for me. And you talk about how playing the game the right way. Taylor Adams is aggressive. He's stepped over the line a few times, but I think he's matured in the way that he plays and the way that he speaks as well. Braden Maynard's a bit of a hothead too, but I think they're two guys that Collingwood look to when you want to play the game physically, and they do that, and they provide that. How polished they are in the media. I think Taylor Adams has certainly improved in that area. Braden Maynard haven't heard a lot of, but I think he's really well respected within the group. I think Jeremy Howe's probably past that point now where he wants to be the captain. So co-captains for me, Maynard and Adams, just to share the load. It's a pretty big club, Collingwood. So they supporters, corporates, clients, all that sort of thing would want to get their hands on the skipper and want to talk to the captain a lot. So splitting that duel works for me.
Which adds to the magnitude of the job that Scott Pennebury did for so long. I would imagine Crisp might be the way to go there. I know he's not necessarily seen and heard from a lot, but he's very, very highly rated from those who have been within the four walls of the footy club. I think they've got a few options there and some that aren't necessarily super obvious. The Bombers, where do we go here?
Where do we go here? There's no natural fit to be the skipper.
Unfortunately, someone has to do it, Adam, so we're going to have to find someone.
Well, I think Dyson would probably be keen to do it again, whether or not the club want him to do it and just maybe concentrate on his footy at the back end of his career. Zach Merritt is an unbelievably diligent professional player who ticks every box.
There's a but coming.
But he's probably too quiet.
Yeah.
And when he says something, people sit up and they take notice. But I'm not sure he's got that other side of him. If you need to. And I think that's maybe he could balance it out with a player and go with the co-captaincy again. I'm not sure Andy McGrath is the right fit to be the skipper because in terms of on-field, I'd just like to see him start to dominate games before worrying about being a leader. He hasn't hit the level that certainly he would have liked and that Essendon supporters would have liked either. So I think he needs to concentrate on his footy first, become a star, before you start taking over the leadership responsibilities. Maybe Jordan Ridley could be the one.
Yeah, he's one. Yeah, he seems like a do-day type who could do it. Would Sam Draper be a sleeper or not?
He's a player that everyone loves.
Yeah.
But again,
I'm thinking
does he need the burden of being the captain? He seems a free spirit to me.
Well, I'm thinking in the Tex Walker vein. He's a free spirit, and Phil Walsh saw something in him. I don't know. I'm with you. None of the guys who are, I guess, thrown up as candidates. And again, we are making assessments from way back in the pack on these guys. What about Redmond off halfback? Had a great season in terms of his performance. Has he got leadership qualities that you know of?
He's a great person and was a great teammate, got along with him really well. But look, I only know him from when he was sort of 18 or 19 and was a pretty laid-back dude. They had a minor fracas with Jake Stringer today. So he's got a little bit angry there.
Yes.
But and I wouldn't be appointing Mason as the captain. I think, again, his game went to another level last year. He was really consistent. But
Great, super.
But just got to concentrate on doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row before you start to take on these leadership responsibilities.
The Cats,
no one's going to captain Essendon.
Okay, no one. We're just going to send the mascot out to flip the coin. The Cats. Now, this is a really tough set of shoes to fill because Joel Selwood's up there with the greatest captains that have ever played the game and captained, and that's his record I'm speaking about, not necessarily opinion. You've got Mark Blitzarves, you've got Tom Stewart, you've got Patrick Dangerfield, but all those three, I think Stewie is north of 30 as well. So the obvious candidates are sort of on the other side of 30 as well. But where would you land here?
But 85% of their list is north of 30. So, well, you know better than me. I think the obvious one is Paddy Dangerfield. I think it's an easy transition, smooth transition. Everyone respects him, speaks well, does everything right. Easy decision for me.
I would go I would go Danger and Tom Stewart together. I would have those two work as co-captains. I think Danger's the sort of Monday to Friday rallier and has fun and those types of things, and Stewie's these days the game day performer, just get it done. One of the best defenders in the competition. So I'd go co-captains, but either way, it's going to be a big task to fill the shoes of Joel Selwood and the Giants. Of course, we're not writing Caniglio off, and I think at his best he's a great player and leader. But the rumours have been around, the noise about Toby Green. Would you slot him in as skipper or not?
If he wants it, I think the decision would be up to Toby. If he said to the Giants, look, Stevens just wants to get back to getting the footy 30, 35 times a game and getting back to that consistent level that saw him get that bumper contract, well, I think if Toby went to the club and said, I'm ready to do it, that it's an easy decision. We know what happens on the field with him at times, but take the good with the bad with Toby. I think he's the natural leader. He's the guy that gets them going. He's the X factor on field, and that's enough for me.
And last one, the Hawks. Ben McAvoy steps away to go and do a bit of farming. James Sicily, Dill Moore, Blake Hardwick, Sicily the obvious?
Well, they're saying that he's the natural progression, so there's not a lot of other candidates that jump out off the page. Luke Bruce wouldn't want to be a captain at this stage of his career, and Dylan Moore still, learning his craft, as they say, working into the midfield. So Sicily's it for me.
Okay, there you go. You heard it here first. Adam Cooney finds a new skipper for every team who needs one.
Except Essendon.
The Click boys and girls can clip that up and send that to the clubs, and they can save even bothering to have a vote.